35 retweets of her blog post on selfishness being the new selflessness. And on Facebook, the center had hit 10,000 likes. A very good morning indeed. She dimmed her office lights and pressed play on her iPad. As the soothing sounds of Debussy filled the room, she closed her eyes and leaned back in the chair. Maybe things were really going to be different here. They had to be. She couldn't keep starting over and finding new places to hide. 2. Joanna. Leo's finally coming out of his depression. After 3 long months of his barely communicating with me, lost inside his head, he suddenly seemed to perk up. He was starting on a new murder case next week, and I could see that having it to immerse himself in was a good thing, but I knew from experience that it would also be exhausting. I convinced him that a few days away at the house in Maine before the trial started would be a nice break for all of us. The bracing sea air and magnificent views were always restorative, so I'd already called ahead to Lloyd, the caretaker, to ready the house for us. As soon as we drove up and opened the front door, fresh flowers greeted us on the entry table, and the room seemed to welcome us back. Stelly ran through the house ahead of us like a tornado, and when I heard a whoop of delight, I knew he'd found the surprise I'd arranged to have waiting in his bedroom. A minute later, he came barreling down the stairs holding 2 remote-control bumper cars and ran to his sister Evie.
"Look what was in my room! Come on, let's go play!"
Evie, a grown-up 8 to his 6, gave him a measured look, then spoke.
"Let me put my things away first."
She was such a sweet child that she didn't ask if there was anything waiting in her room, which of course there was. I'd ordered her a pink wireless karaoke microphone and asked Lloyd to place it on her bed. As Leo unloaded the car, I went through the house, turning lights on, unpacking our bags, and getting us settled in. Opening the door to the deck, I took a deep breath of Maine air. It was a perfect spring day, 62 degrees according to the thermometer on the outside wall, but the sun made it feel warmer. The sea was calm and the sky a brilliant, cloudless blue. I sat in one of the white lounge chairs and breathed in the salt air, closing my eyes as the warmth of the sun spread across my body. "Are you asleep?" Leo's voice startled me from a light slumber, and I sat up, turning to look at him standing at the open sliding glass door. "No, just resting," I said. "Where are the children?" "In their rooms, playing." "Why don't you sit down and join me?" He shook his head, his expression serious. "No, I think I'll go inside and rest for a bit." I tried not to show my exasperation. "Leo, the sun and sea air will do you some good. Come sit." He sighed reluctantly. This is how he'd been the last few months, keeping to himself, sleeping most of the time, or staring off into space. Finally, he stepped onto the deck and took the lounge chair next to mine, but he looked straight ahead at the water, not saying a word. I put my hand on his arm. "Leo, let's try to make this trip a good one for Stelly and Evie. They love it here. It would be good to make some happy memories for them." He continued to stare at the water. "I'll try, Joanna. I know I've not been the easiest person to be around these last months." He turned to look at me and attempted a weak smile. "You've been wonderful, you really have, and I'm grateful. I don't know what I would have done without you." Even though we'd been together for many years, it was still a thrill to hear those words, to know he appreciated me. There was no one I cared about more than him and the children, and I was relieved to see that he was starting to come back to me. "I will always be here for you, Leo, no matter what," I said. Tears filled his eyes, and he blinked, then turned to hide them from me. Seeing him like this made me hope he was emotionally prepared for this case, which would be another high-profile one. I'd been telling him it might be good for him to get counseling, but he wasn't interested, even when I reminded him how much it had helped me. My therapist, Celeste, advised me not to push him.